All right, so I should be live. Hello, welcome back to day 2. We are talking about healing from division after COVID. And it's a big topic to cover because we had a lot of wounds. There was a lot of different things happened over the course of this pandemic situation, for lack of a better analogy, where now we're seeing the later effects of some of the policies created that have brought possible food scarcity. And there was just so much. There was division, there was loss of relationships. We saw a lot of husbands and wives just not seeing eye to eye on whether or not the kids should be vaccinated. People I know got divorced. They just saw that their values were so very different that they could not come together anymore. And so today we're going to talk about how it feels when you just never going to get any better. I call it the Eeyore syndrome. And I've joked before that I just don't keep friends with Eeyores because in my circle, it's like if you get any better, if things don't get any better, that's one thing. If you start to feel like things don't get any better, it might be good to have somebody around you that reminds you that things can get better. And if anybody is listening to this, excuse me, and my sound is glitching, if you would let know if that is happening again, because that happened yesterday, and I'm hoping that's not happening again today. I'm going to check my feed and see. Sorry if this may happening. To check my feed and see. Sorry if this may happening. To check my feed. It might be happening. It might not. I'm not really sure. But hopefully you're getting a clear. Let me change the. All right. Let's see if that helps any, because it sounded like it might be doing that. And I was really hoping that would be gone today. We will see. Anyway, so the Eeyore syndrome. The Eeyore, the person that is, you guys know, like the Winnie the Pooh cartoons, and how Eeyore is that little donkey that's all sad, and he's like, it's never gonna get any better. Oh no. Just like the saddest guy all the time, and it becomes his identity. He just thinks things are never gonna get any better. And I think a lot of people romanticize being an Eeyore, but I got, if you really think about what you want for your life in your future, and how you want to see yourself in the future, do you want to look back on your life and see an Eeyore? And I'm asking this very, very seriously, because there's a lot of people out there that I hope invest the time and energy to consider this question. When you think about your future, even when you romanticize the Eeyore character, do you want to look back on your life and see an Eeyore? Like, do you want to look back on all your photographs and see somebody that's just whining and complaining about things never getting better, or just one bad thing happening after another that you have to report to anyone anymore? And there's just there's like one positive among 300 negatives in your life. And I ask this because what boundaries, it's about what you want. And if you start romanticizing and identifying with an Eeyore type of personality or character trait, I am concerned that you're putting a boundary around something that you might not really want for the rest of your life. You might be like, oh, people should accept Eeyore. Isn't it great that the other characters in the show kind of, I see these posts. There's real posts of people saying, isn't it wonderful how people rally around Eeyore? He's still miserable, but everybody cares about them and everybody does the right thing. And I see people wanting to compensate for that personality type. Eeyore should be a stage. We should have stages of Tigger, and Eeyore should be a stage of grief or a stage of really low feeling after something bad that happened. It should not be to stay. I always say, yea, though I walk through the valley of the death, I shall not set up camp here. And I want people to consider, because I think this is where people that have depression or identify as having depression, like instead of experiencing depression as a temporary experience or a condition that is conditional and might be moving on, that there is, if you want to identify with something like Shin or like Eeyore, it could be a very, you're setting a tone for the rest of your life. I hate to say it that way. I mean, not necessarily you could turn around, but it's not going to happen until you make the changes to go, you know what? I'm not going to put like all of this attention on how wonderful Eeyore is anymore, and how wonderful it is to be sad, and how wonderful it is when the rest of the world accommodates my sadness. And that's kind of what they want when they're in an Eeyore stage, is they want everyone to just accept that this they are, and this is how they are forever. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to keep that energy around me when I'm vibrant and alive and creating and whatever. And so this is why I say I don't have Eeyore friends around me, but I want to help Eeyore because I was Eeyore once. Shocking? So I was very picked on in school, as they would call it these days. I think they called it that then too. Terrible. I had just a really bad experience. I switched to a junior high where there was a lot of affluent kids. And though my parents were affluent and it was Newport Beach and my parents could afford to that school, my parents valued different things. And so instead of buying the newest, fanciest car, they would buy a secondhand van and fix it up and save the money for other things. And it wouldn't be like it would be like stuff to keep building the business. And so I don't think it was the best idea because it didn't amount to much. In the long run, they both ended up with little at when their marriage fell apart, because they didn't spend any of that money and they putting it back into the business, and there were no vacations and there was nothing to show for it, and they were both very unhappy. And that's that. But how I experienced it was so tell me, we have money, we just don't show it off, we just don't go around spending it everywhere. Fine. But I went to a school that they wanted me to go to. It was a private school in Newport Beach. It had a great oceanography program. And I'm really excited because we owned a boat, the high school did, with Jacques Cousteau. And the potential for me to be able to dive with Jacques Cousteau in like my high school years if I'd stuck with it in their oceanography program. And I could have gone to any school in the world, oceanography afterwards, or marine biology, which I was really interested in at the time when I was in junior high. And I got into that school and I got so badly picked on, like singled out. I would go up to a crowd of girls and they would be all eating their snacks at snack time, walk up, and they would purposely keep a crowd together to keep me out. They were standing in a circle and they would see me coming and and that was so funny, that would keep the nerdy girl out. And I sat and ate lunches every day with a gal that was mentally handicapped, and a boy that was mentally, because those were the only people that talked to me at a certain point. I was told that my mom would volunteer to drive school field trips because we had a big old van, and lots of seating. And your mom has a stupid van, but I wouldn't like mom had a good car, and I wouldn't like you if you changed your face, and I wouldn't like you if you changed your hair, and I wouldn't like you if you changed your clothes, and I wouldn't like you if you changed your name, and I wouldn't like you if you changed everything about you. And I remember hearing that. I was super flat-chested, if you would believe it, in junior high. I was the later, and I got to hear roses are red, violets are black. The front of your chest is as flat as my back. And my mom prayed too hard after that for boobs, and that's why I ended up with what I did, which is kind of. But it was a very hard time for me, and there came a point where I was so picked on, so badly picked on that I voted. It was a joke that they took like the two ugliest kids in school and nominated them for Heartbreaker of the Year as a joke. And the kids all were in on it. And me that year, the year after, it was another kid that was one of the handicapped kids that I sat with. And so this was a big joke to them. And I knew it. And I went home and I told my parents, like, just tell me that I'm totally retarded, because I sit with retarded kids every day and no one accepts me and everyone feels like I don't fit in here, and there must be a reason, and probably up to a point, maybe you put me in smaller schools or private schools to hide it from me, but these see it. And just tell me that I'm different so I understand why this is happening to me. It was that bad. And I went home from school every day crying, and I got to a point where I was just like, I'm not going to comb my hair. I'm not going to brush teeth. I'm not going to take a bath because it doesn't matter. Nobody likes me anyway. And they were like, no, you're not retarded. We don't know why. These are just mean kids. And they switched me to another school. But it was still like I carried this with me even to the next school. And then the next, to where I would hear people laughing. And I would think they were laughing at me. If I was in the mall, walking through the mall, I could hear laughter from far, far away. And I always thought, oh, they're laughing at me. And I became a sort of Eeyore character where the way I made friends was telling them these stories in my new schools about how badly I was treated in my old school, and how sad it was, and how sad I was, and how bad I felt. And so it became a sort of identity with me of being the kid that needed sympathy. And I didn't really think of it that way as an identity until another gal that I knew that was in a very similar circumstance to mine, and we were almost in competition for sympathy. I saw her one day walking to class, or between classes. I was like upstairs and I saw her down on outside walking between buildings, and she had her book bag and she was limping. There was nothing wrong with her. She like ran track and everything. I don't think there was anything wrong with her, but I really started to notice that she kind of like everything's so I won't say her name, because if anybody, I don't want to say her name, but she would, it's so awful. And that's how she'd talk. I'm gonna go to this class. And, like everything hurt. It sounded like everything, are you in pain? And I thought, there's something up here, you know? There's something wrong. There's something wrong, girl. But it wasn't until I saw her from upstairs that I saw myself. I want people to be sympathetic. Sim is like or kind, kindred. Pathetic. They feel kind to my patheticness, my smallness, and I God, that's not what I want for the rest of my life. I don't want people to like me because they feel sorry for me. I want people to like me because they respect me and my company, because I'm fun and I'm interesting. And it wasn't a moment that I saw like a mirror of myself in this other person that I was like, oh man, that's what I've been competing for? That award, the prize of the biggest loser, and not in a good way, not like I lost weight or anything, but like literally. So this is a serious thing. And so I want to take a moment to consider the places in your life, and probably there's my life now even, where the Eeyore stuff shows up, where we look at our life and go, oh man, but this sucks, but the government is doing this to me, and Oh, there's gonna be food. Just where do we turn into Eeyore? Oh, it's so bad. Everything's getting worse. So I hope that you take the time to look at that. And then from there, what is the opposite of energy of everything so terrible? Anybody know? Anybody ideas? Let me look and see if anybody's commenting in here on my feed. Hopefully I'm not glitching still. Try on gratitude. I am so everything keeps going right for me. I keep winning. And I say that now and it sounds almost like hokey, like you're just faking it to make it or something. But there was a time where every time I turned on, I won another something, and I was so blessed. I really was. And so this is where I make the recommendation for people in the Eeyore, in that slug of it's never going to get any better, or in the I'm just going to identify sadness. What would you like to be identifying with? Put that inside your boundary rather than working so hard to defend why everyone should sympathize with you. Work hard to defend why everyone should respect you. Work hard to defend why everyone should enjoy your company. Not to be around you. Put up with you, tolerate you. People want tolerance in this world. How sad is that we have turned tolerance into nobility? So here's Eeyore and the boundary around Eeyore. Man, but it really is that bad, Karen. The government really did do all this stuff to us recently. The government hit us all against each other. Yeah, they did. They did. And your hurt is valid. That's the one thing that Eeyore wants. If you into your inner Eeyore, and I really encourage you to do this, get out a piece of paper or your notepad or somewhere on your computer and open up a little thing and ask yourself, what does this Eeyore energy need? What can I do to address energy of Eeyore? What can I give it? Like the sympathy and the love that it needs, the appreciation for the struggle that you've been through, the appreciation for the people you've lost, the appreciation for the doors slammed in your face saying you can't enter because you are breathing the public air, that your whole country seems to be against freedom, the defeat, the sense of hopelessness. It's valid to feel that way for a time. And to acknowledge the feelings and to have your moment with those feelings and to heal your heart. Ask yourself, what is it that I need right now to get beyond this energy and to move it into something more positive, to move it into respect me, remove it into be grateful with me, move it into enjoy life with me, from feel sorry for me, cry with me, commiserate. Let's be miserable together. Pathetic, commiserate, come be miserable with me. Come be pathetic with me, or feel sorry for my patheticness. Give me the crown of the most person. To move that energy, first we must acknowledge that feeling. Don't just ignore it. Just don't be like, fuck you, I got other things to do. Be like, hey, real feelings. Let's look at them. Let's write are. And I really want you to write down what they are, because it's saying to yourself that I love you enough to take you seriously. I don't want to get this experience out into the world. I don't want the world to need to be a part of this private, intimate, sacred experience of self-love that I am calling out to receive from myself. Self-validation that I out from deep within to feel for myself. Write your feelings. Write down what that Eeyore feeling is. Write it down so that your body, mind, and your heart know that you're taking your soul seriously. And then remember, that doesn't have to be this way always. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall not set up. Moving through. I'm feeling the feelings, but I'm moving through. And I'm getting to, I'm so grateful that I have. Right? Yeah, big stuff today. So Eeyore needs vision. Yesterday we talked about the discomfort zone and putting a boundary around the discomfort zone. I need to stay here. I have to stay here, and that fear of needing to not get out of that. And that needs the vision of what better relationships that you could have. Eeyore needs a vision of how one wants to be seen, how one wants to see oneself, how one wants to acknowledge oneself and love oneself. And if one wants to acknowledge oneself for one's sad, grieving, depressed feelings, one needs to do that for one's consciously. Keep living every day hoping it will come from somewhere else, that you'll draw in commiseration and sympathy. Because you become a black hole at that point, because there's no one going to fill that but you. And it's never going to feel good until you feel good. And you're good as long as you're wanting sympathy for feeling bad and not getting it. So if you don't take care of that hole and plug it up, you are sucking everyone's energy down with you. So it's like you're like a... And this is why I try not to associate. I'll tell, if I see people like that, I'm like, have you tried a gratitude list? And if they tell me they don't have time for a gratitude list, but they have time to complain all day about all kinds of shit in their life, I don't have time for them. That's me. I'm taking the time as a coach to talk about gratitude and to talk the Eeyore energy and to talk about feeling the feelings. But in my life, when I'm out there getting it done and getting through the day and scrolling on my Facebook feed, I don't want to look at my Facebook feed and see everybody just commiserating and talking about their mutual shared sense of depression and doom. And I hate those meteor, meet 20 whatever election you want, a giant meteor. I don't like that fatal bullshit. I just don't allow or invite that into my life or even into my feed. And so I hide those people from my feed, or I unfriend them eventually if I just see a perpetuation of the Eeyore mindset, just like becoming an identity for someone. We can't identify with that perpetually and expect to be happy people. So, big stuff. So gratitude list. This is the 2 pieces of homework for today. I'm giving you homework today. Today's homework would be that you write down those feelings, whatever you feel Eeyore-ish about, whatever you feel like you need validated. Write it down, because that is your validate. You are taking the time and energy to pay attention to the places that hurt. To say, I care. I care enough about myself to take note of this. To think about it, to ask myself, and then to ask what it needs. What is the thing that you need to feel better? What is it? Thought about like, oh, the world becoming a better place is the only way. That's in response a lot of times. That's a way to justify. Is there something you can do and you can take to feel better? I think this is a first start, but the next step is to start to vision what you would look like in a Tigger energy, what you would look like in a poo or a piglet energy. The what do I say? The joyously vibrant Tigger energy, contemplative, inquisitive piglet energy. And Pooh is he's just walking around living like the power of now. He's ever present. He's always expecting everything to go. He's always happy. Can picture yourself in that energy, and what would you have to do differently in your life right now to express that? What might you need to change about something right now that you can change or work on changing or make a habit or practice of changing? Become more like that. Or if you know somebody in your life, like I have a board of influence, like it's probably around here somewhere, but I just put the faces of the people that I want that inspire me on this poster board, kind of like a vision board. And I think, what would you do in a situation? How would you react? And I'll tell you in a lot of situations when I have been in them, gratitude is what I call on. Personally, I will look up and go, what do I have to be grateful for right now? And there are a lot of things you're grateful for. So we could start with like just being able to breathe, that functions a certain way, having a heart that doesn't stop beating. I have nice hair. It hasn't fallen out yet from it, thankfully. I'm kind of cute. I have all my teeth. All the ones I need. I have food to eat. My fridge is full. My cupboards are full. I have a abundance of food and my needs being met in many ways. I have loving, joyous, harmonious, supportive, and enduring relationships. I have that, and this is how you get there. And this is another thing that I do when I run out of things to be grateful for, because I know that I want, and I say I'm already thankful that this was put in me to want this, because it must have been put in me to want this because for me to have this, or to have a wonderful experience in the of it, or the work towards attaining it. I'm going to have gratitude for wanting this particular house, because the things that I'm gonna do to create it, to work to have it, are going to enhance life, and I'm gonna learn so much from them. I'm so grateful for all of the things that I already know I'm gonna learn to get the things that were put in me to want. So you can be thankful for everything that you want in advance. So there's a lot of ways to creatively use gratitude to raise your emotional vibration, your emotional state. I mean, it sounds like vibration, it sounds like hooey gooey, but your emotional state, from something to something a little better, you know. And gratitude is a big step in that direction. And then ask yourself again, like make a board and put the people that are living joyful, happy lives, that are ambassadors for joy. Put them on your vision board. And look at them and ask them, what are you doing? What are you doing? How do you feel that way every day? What do you get up and do first thing in the morning? And you don't even have to know, but your soul is going to tell you an answer about what you believe they do that is meant to change you. So your wisdom inside is already far smarter than you're giving yourself credit for. You're not even tapping into it. You're just, in your state, but your mind already knows the answer to your questions. And this is how I get them. I think, oh, Joe Salatin, what do you do when you get up in the morning? Like, how do you get out of bed every day? Do you like stretch first? And I try to imagine him putting on his shoes and going out to his farm and doing all that stuff. Or, you know, Thomas Massey, when he's at home working around his farm with his kids, and he's like, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go collect the eggs, and I'm gonna ride ATV up to the duck pond and any eggs up there and see if there's any new baby ducks out there on the pond. All of this stuff. I imagine what they would tell me that they were going to get excited about, and I kind of excited thinking about it, even though it's not my life and I have no idea if they're even really doing that. But it changed your vibration. It matches vibration of what you believe. Those people could be miserable for all we know, you know. They could be having a terrible day, the worst day of their life. Who knows? But we can get the vibration seeking that they hold for ourselves, and we can enhance our own lives. So these are some of the tools that I use by putting, what do I put in my boundaries? Joel Salatin, you know, Salatin energy, Thomas Massey energy, sometimes Martha Stewart energy. I'm going to put on this lovely hand cream before I go out and dig in my garden in the dirt. Take on my Martha Stewart energy, you know. It's like, how can I look as cool while gardening, and you know, bring some chic to the homestead. But I think what makes these people happy, what would make me happy, and that's how I go. That's how I do. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope this has been offered you some things to think about, some things to do. You have a couple homework assignments, and I will what I'm going to put in the comments is I want you to go to sovereignmom.substack.com, and I want you to sign up for my blogs, because I talk about this stuff in my blogs, which is great and fun. I will post the replays in my blog, new notifications each day, so you're not going to miss this tomorrow. You're going to get an email with the link in it. You don't miss this tomorrow, and it'll send you a reminder, and that'll be great. And I'm doing this teaching for free for 11 days. This is day 2 of 11. And so I'm going to do this for 11 days. And the subscribers from my Substack are going to get a notification, and the paid subscribers are going to get a really sweet deal on a course that's going to come up after all of this on saying yes to boundaries and learning how to even go deep implementing some of these tools towards success, and how to do some things and getting into the practical, not just like, oh, okay, maybe I'll make a vision board one day or something. We'll be doing the vision boards together in that, and doing some other stuff, focus boards and all of that. Board of advisors, we will be doing all of that in there. So I'm putting, there is a link to the sovereignmom.substack.com. That's my Substack. And I want you guys to jump in there and subscribe, so that you get notified. If you do a paying subscription, you're gonna get a deal on. Oh dear. You are going to get the notifications and everything. But if you become a paying subscriber, you are going to get a really sweet deal on the course that's coming up that I'm going to be about at the end of all of this, to take it to the next level. And so I hope that you do join us. Oh, man, I'm really sorry that I have my phone hooked up to my computer. It's like ding, all these notifications going off that I didn't know to turn off, and I didn't going to come through here. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me with me today. I hope this has helped shake some of that Eeyore energy off and help you appreciate and validate the Eeyore energy within you, that you can transform it into something that helps you into a different idea of yourself in the future. And I hope that you find happy, loving, harmonious, supportive, and enduring relationships through all of this process and in your life. So thank you very much for being with me today. And I can't wait to see you again tomorrow at 5. Thank you very much. Bye.